Hello everyone and welcome to Big Rock Moto. Thank you so much for tuning in today. In today's episode in a long-term series of my 2024 BMW R1300GS adventure, I'm going to talk you through some of the modifications, accessories, and upgrades that I've made to this bike. Just a couple quick things as we get started. I always like to give disclaimers. Some of the products I receive for free, some of the products I get a discount, and some products I end up paying full price for. It's just a mix of all those things. I would also ask that if you decide to purchase anything for your own motorcycle, whether it's GS parts or parts for another adventure bike or riding gear or anything like that, use the links that I provide below. It really helps support the channel, but that's also my disclaimer that I do sometimes, depending on the item, get a small commission from those sales. Now, my purpose with videos like these, because I know they can kind of come off or come across as like, this guy just has way too much stuff on his bike and he's always showing all these different parts. It just seems like a big advertisement. I understand that. And I don't mean it to be that way. What I'm trying to do is test a lot of different products, show a lot of different possibilities, and I am not saying that you need all these items for your GS or for your motorcycle. That's not it at all. But I do like to showcase different things. It gives companies a chance to show their products. It gives me a chance to test things and report back. And when you're out there looking to accessorize your bike, you have this kind of video to look at. All right, so let's start with something visual on the bike. I do have a wrap on the bike. So this is the vinyl wrap by Dab Rabbit Designs out of South Korea. Now, there's some advantages to having a wrap. It preserves the finish of the paint and plastics underneath the wrap. So for scratches, for dirt, if you're off-roading, whatever it is, preserves that bike's finish if you want to take it off later, maybe sell it or just refresh it. They have a ton of different designs you can get. I don't have any affiliation with the company. I put this wrap on mine and it's a partial wrap. I didn't do the whole kit. And I have mixed feelings about it, right? Like they're really hard to install. You get bubbles in it unless you're like professional at doing this. I'd recommend maybe having a professional do it, honestly, if I did this again. The design is kind of busy and it's a little bit too I don't know how to say it, it just looks a bit busy and maybe a little bit corny or cheesy, but there's other designs they have and we'll see. I may end up just peeling it off and going back to the triple black, which is underneath the wrap. All right, for my lower crash bars, so there's some essential things you need on a GS, even if you don't ride off-road. You need some way to protect the cylinder heads on the boxer motor. So lower crash bars, I'd recommend everybody who has a GS to at least have that. Now you can get the OEM crash bars, they're okay. I recommend the Touratech ones, however, and here's why. They look and install like an OEM product, but they have an additional support bar that makes them much stronger than the OEM bars. If you look at the OEM crash bars on the GS, they are missing that one support bar, and then Touratech sells a reinforcement. It's almost like kind of a gotcha moment, like, I wonder how they did that. But anyway, leaving that aside, I like the Touratech bars. I would not change these. I tried some different bars out. I ended up settling on these and I'm just happy with them. Now, I also have the Touratech upper crash bars. You actually don't need upper crash bars on the GS, and in my opinion, it just doesn't seem to need them. But the reason I have them on is because one, I have them. They sent them to me. And two, they're a really great place to mount auxiliary lights. So I do like that. The upper crash bars from Touratech look great. They install very easily, very clean. However, there's some things you should know. You will have to remove your OEM fog lights, which on this bike causes an error on the dashboard, which is kind of annoying, and I need to go in the dealer to see if they can turn that off. But that brings me to my auxiliary lights, so I might as well just do that right now. So I'm running Denali D7 Pros. The D7 Pros are their new light. They have 2 circuits in each light. So you have you can control the inner 3 lights as a separate circuit. You can put on an amber or a yellow cover. You can use them as turn signals. That cover also makes them into like a flood beam. And then you have the driving beam on the outer lights. So it's really amazing. And I'm doing a separate video because there's so much to talk about that on the Denali lighting systems and specifically the D7 Pros. They're 24,000 lumens for the set, which is insanity. Nighttime, it's like the sun shining down the road when you have them on high. You can configure all that through the computer. It's CAN bus controlled with a Denali CAN Smart controller or a Hex Easy CAN. So I recommend that. I also have the Denali B6 brake light. If you're going to buy Denali stuff, I do have an affiliate link and I'd appreciate you using that. But there'll be a separate video on that if that's not already out. Some other things I have from Touratech, I have their radiator guards. I like that because you protect the radiators on the bike from sticks or rocks kicking up. I also have the Touratech headlight guard, the clear headlight guard that is a quick detachable so you can clean it. And then I also have the Touratech skid plate. I really do like that skid plate. It's got like an absorption plate kind of in it. It looks OEM. It seems to provide pretty good protection. So I'm very happy with that. Now, while I'm talking about Touratech, I might as well mention the pannier racks. I do have Touratech pannier racks. They're just plain old tubular racks. You can mount any kind of bags you want, hard bags, soft bags, whatever the case may be. And I also have a set of SW Motec pannier racks, the quick release ones. The things that's cool about the SW Motec racks is they have quick release. You can take them off. And I use those when I want to use my Dusk plastic hard bag. So I have that option. Of course, you could use SW Motec soft bags on that and get that whole system if you wanted. So I have some different options in terms of the luggage. On those pannier racks, when I'm running the Touratech racks, I like to run the Moto backcountry panniers. I've got a set of the new 25s. They're kind of slim. I kind of like that. But honestly, if you're spending this much money, I'd probably just get the 35-liter Moto bags in case you need the extra room. I love Moto luggage. I think it's the best out there, but you do pay for that premium level. In terms of a tank bag, so on this bike, I really don't like having the straps. I just don't like that. So SW Motec sells the tank rings and then the WP Pro tank bag. So the new waterproof tank bags that they have are fantastic. They have a bunch of different sizes. I've got a micro, I want to call it Denali. It's, oh gosh, I always blank on the name. I'll put it here. I've got the middle-sized one, and then I've got the bigger one, which is called the City. They also have the GS. They're quick release, they're waterproof. Highly recommend those tank bags. Let's talk about foot pegs. So my bike did not have the Enduro Pro package, meaning I didn't get the off-road foot pegs or the crash bars or any of that stuff. So I went with Black Dog CycleWorks foot pegs. They're the best in the business from my experience. I've used foot pegs from all the companies out there. I really like the Black Dog pegs. They're the perfect size. They have great traction. I have the platform ones. They have another version too that I think has more traction. I like the platforms. You can get them in black or silver. They include a mounting pin, so like installation is like 5 minutes. You don't have to fight with the springs because it's got that mounting pin for installation. Man, what a great, made in USA company, small family business. Love that. Now for tires, I'm running the Moto's GPS Tractionator tires. For this bike, because it's like I use it like 70% highway, 30% dirt, I would say. I like the GPS tire. It's similar to like, I guess you could say a Dunlop Trailmax Mission, or maybe a Mitas EP.7, something like that, kind of those 50-50 tires. I like the GPS. I find it to be quite a good tire for both on and off road. For my GPS or navigation system, I have a separate video which I'll put somewhere here and down below, but I'm running the Chigi AIO5 Play for BMW. It's amazing because it gives me Android Auto, Apple CarPlay right up there on the dash. It integrates, it's the only system out there that integrates to the BMW Wonder Wheel, the control wheel, and the turn signal button to select stuff. So it's got the full integration with the bike. You can do anything you want with that, and I have a separate video which I'll link somewhere here below. My seat cover, so the factory seats, unfortunately, on the 1300 are not as comfortable as they were on the 1250, which is a huge downside, and I mentioned that in the pros and con video I did, I guess like last month. So I put the cool covers on mine. It helps ventilate so you don't get sweaty butt. I know that's too much information, but it's the truth. And it doesn't get wet, it doesn't hold the water. In the summer, it's not hot. The seat doesn't get like burning hot if you've ever had that. I love those covers. I buy them for all my bikes when they're available, so I highly recommend that. Some other protection items. So I've got Hepco Becker handguards. Because my GS has the turn signals in the handguards, I actually really like that because they're super bright and they're really widely spaced. I love those turn signals, but you don't want to break them if you do off-road. So the Hepco Becker handguards solve that, and that's a great product. Highly recommend it. I've got some other small parts from SW Motec. I've got their heel guards, which kind of protect the sides of the bike. I've got their adjustable foot brake lever and shift lever, and their side stand foot for the side stand. So some more cool stuff from SW Motec. Oh, I almost forgot, I also have the SW Motec sliders for the front axle, and then there's a slider on the back swing arm. So if the bike was to slide on a pavement, that would take some of the rash or some of the damage instead of the metal parts of the bike. So pretty low cost item that can add some protection. And then finally for a phone mount, I still sometimes need my phone on handlebars for various reasons. I like to use quad lock systems. Sometimes I use RAM components, but I mount the phone to a quad lock mount with a vibration dampener. Never had any issues with vibration using those quad lock systems, so I highly recommend that. That's something that I've used for years and years. So the total cost of all this stuff, I was kind of shocked when I added it up in a little spreadsheet. It's like $6,000 for all the stuff I've added. The big ticket things, the D7 Pros are almost $1,000 for the lights. The backcountry panniers are like over $1,000, so that's $2,000 right there of it. And then other stuff just adds up. I mean, here's what I'd say. If you do this, or if you already know this, but don't make a spreadsheet for your bike, because you're gonna be like, oh my God, I spent that much money, and definitely don't let your spouse see that, because it's crazy. So anyway, hide that from Maggie. Of course, I didn't pay for a lot of this stuff because I'm a spoiled YouTuber and people send me things. But anyway, the total cost might be a little excessive. I don't know. There's people who spend a lot more. It's already an expensive bike anyway. But part of the fun for me, and I know for some of you, is making the bike your own by doing these personalizations and upgrades. All right, well, that's about it. I hope this video was useful. I have another episode or two coming out on the 1300GS before I decide what to do with this bike, whether keep riding it. I do love it. Whether I keep riding it or sell it off and do something else with the money, I'm not sure yet. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Ride safe. I'll see you out there.